Coming up, Christian Barmore has reached a contract extension with the New England Patriots as the draft may be over, but Eliot Wolf is still making moves. We'll break down those contract details, and I'll give my instant reaction. But first, got to give a round of applause and thank all of you. We crossed 11,000 subscribers here on Patriots Today by Chat Sports. If you haven't already, join the family and subscribe. It's 100% free. We're going to keep shelving out daily content here on this channel. And with that being said, let's go ahead and react to Christian Barmore getting a new deal. I'm Harrison Graham. Christian Barmore gets paid as New England locks him up on a 4-year contract extension. There were rumors and kind of reports before the NFL draft that talks had intensified, and those appear to be true as this deal gets locked up on the Monday after the draft. I want to give Doug Keion the credit here first, as he had the scoop first. Deal is done, saying that a cornerstone piece for the Patriots is locked up for the future. Post-draft splash for the Patriots. Adam Schefter chimed in here with some details. 4-year deal with a maximum value of $92 million. Deal was negotiated and confirmed by Nicole Lynn of Clutch Sports. And my initial reaction was, this is below market. I mean, this is a pretty damn good deal for New England. By the way, $41.8 million of which is guaranteed. So sounds like it's kind of a 2+2. If worst case scenario, you get out of it after 2 years of the extension. But you look at the highest paid interior defensive lineman by year, he's tied for 7th. I mean, DeForest Buckner is an aging player, still making 23. Jeffrey Simmons, Quinnen Williams, who signed last offseason, still making more. Christian Wilkins, who signed this offseason, getting $4.5 million more per year. And I like Wilkins, but Barmore is younger, and I think probably is a more ascending player than Christian Wilkins. Obviously, he's not going to get Chris Jones money, but I really like this contract for New England, if I got to be completely honest. Grade the contract for Christian Barmore, A, B, C, D, or F. Talking about an interior disruptive player, which are very valuable in today's NFL. This is a solid A deal, man. Like, I got to give this an A for Eliot Wolf and New England. Like, I thought he could get $25+ million per year. I thought if you could get him for $4 and $100, that would be a pretty good deal because that would be less than Wilkins, but it would still be pretty solid for Barmore. To get him for $4 and up to $92, like, that's the max value, and only $41.8 guaranteed. I mean, that's pretty good for a guy who was probably your best overall football player last year. I mean, the pass rushing really improved with 8.5 sacks a year ago. He's always been a good run stopper. His PFF numbers suggest the run defense slipped a little bit this past year, but he's been a productive player for New England for quite a while and really took off this past year. And what I like best about Christian Barmore is you lock him up below market, and he's only 24 years old. He's only 24 years old. Typo on my part. That's the run defense I was referring to at 67.8. But pass rush has improved. He's a dog on that defense. He's still very young. Like, I am a big fan of getting this player locked in as we get that corrected for you guys. At just 24 years old. He'll turn 25, I think, in June or July, so he'll be 25 this season. But you drafted him young. He's performed well as a young guy, and he's still ascending as a player. You look at this defensive line, a position they did not add in the draft, but I don't really think you needed to. You added Keion White last year. You got Godchaux as well. Christian Barmore in the mix. You still have Wise. You brought in Armon Watson the offseason too. I'm a big fan of what the Patriots are doing. And I'll kind of outline that here in a little bit with the offseason they've had. Again, the reference to the age there is very, very critical in this deal as well. Like, if he was 28, okay, maybe you're pausing a little bit. Defensive tackles don't necessarily age the best. But, like, by the end of this deal, he's still going to be younger than 30. So you could get him again on a 2 or 3 year deal depending on how things play out. So I'm excited about this. I think you guys should be excited about this as well. Christian Barmore locked up. We'll talk a little bit more about all of this in just a moment. But hey, Drake Maye, that was the highlight of the weekend. If you want to get yourself a Drake Maye Patriots jersey, you can get them pre-ordered right now at chatsports.com/Maye jersey. That's chatsports.com/Maye jersey. I'll put that link in the comments and the description for you guys. Go ahead and click and shop today and get yourself a Drake Maye jersey. And with this deal and with the draft the Patriots have, it just kind of like clicked in my brain. And look, it's early. We got to see how this all plays out. We haven't even seen the Patriots play a game with this new regime. But does Elliott Wolf know what he's doing? I mean, it kind of, at least based on paper, what they've done, I really like what the Patriots have done. And number one, I think one thing that really showed me that I was like, okay, I actually liked what he did there was he didn't overpay for Calvin Ridley. They made a push. They tried to get him, but they had a line and they didn't cross it. When you are in a rebuild, you have to be patient. You can't just throw out crazy contracts. Like I think of the free agency period a few years ago when they, remember they paid Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith, and Henry's still here. He's been a solid player, but like they threw out crazy contracts, and it didn't really work for the most part, and I think that's a big reason why Belichick is gone. It's just him as the GM didn't work out, especially at post-Tom Brady. But when you're rebuilding and you have all this money, like it's easy to just be like, oh, I'm just going to start throwing contracts everywhere. You got to be patient with your approach. Like, yeah, pick and choose where you're going to overpay, but don't go crazy with it like Tennessee did for Calvin Ridley. And then number two, don't overthink the number 3 pick. Like, how often do we tell you guys, if Drake Maye's there, just take him. Like, yes, like you need to continue to build this roster, do this and do that. Well, you have Jacoby Brissett. You don't have to play Drake Maye right away, but he's too talented to pass up on at number 3, and next year's QB class on paper doesn't look to be as good. We'll see how that plays out, but you also don't know where you're going to be drafting next year. So just get the talented guy while you can. You pay Jacoby Brissett at $8 million. It's okay if Maye doesn't play this year. Now, I think he will at some point. If I had to guess, I think Brissett starts week 1, but you have options there. If he's clearly not ready coming out of training camp in the preseason, hey, Brissett's your starter. No big deal. Again, have that patience, have a patient approach. I really liked just sticking and picking there with Maye on the board. I thought they reeled in a great draft class. Now, again, a lot of this is projecting. We don't know how Drake Maye is going to turn out. We don't know how the draft picks are going to pan out, but no one does, right, for any team. Like, it is a projection to an extent, but on paper, I really like what they did. Again, you stick and pick Drake Maye. You trade down a few spots and still get a player in Jalen Polk who they really liked. Caden Wallace, I thought was a slight reach, but at a position of need there in the 3rd round. Need to protect your young asset there. Layden Robinson, kind of same deal, but again at a position of need in the offensive line, so can't argue it too much. Javon Baker, I thought was great value there in the 4th round. They needed some depth at corner. They get Marcellus Dial there. Joe Milton, I think, is kind of just a fun experimental pick in the 6th round. Jaheim Bell, great value again. I think he's a guy who can make this 53-man roster. Like, I gave this draft an A-. I really like it. I think you're going to have some impactful players. I think both receivers contribute year 1, which you need. If you're going to get that QB at 3, you need to get them some players. And it's certainly, like, the Patriots are at least trying to do that right now. Whether or not they develop properly, we'll talk about coaching here in a minute. That remains to be seen. But again, from an Elliott Wolf front office standpoint, I really like that draft. Then they re-signed key players. Like, some people might say, well, they're a 3-4 win team. Like, why are you re-signing guys? It's like, well, a lot of these guys they brought back were key contributors. Like, you had to bring back Michael Winnow. The offensive line, especially at tackle, you just had to keep one of him and Trent Brown, and I think Winnow was the better and obviously younger player. Hunter Henry, he was the best tight end. You bring him back. Kyle Duggar probably was an over-market re-signing, but really good young player. Josh Uche on the opposite end of the spectrum. You got him under market value. Bring back Kendrick Bourne as well. There were a couple other notable moves, but key guys returning on, for the most part, pretty reasonable contracts. Liked that. And then obviously the big re-signing, or the extension here, I guess we should say, is Christian Barmore, and you get him under market. Like we said earlier, tied for 7th highest paid defensive tackle for an ascending 24-year-old. I mean, he gets less than a couple of guys that signed last offseason. That's pretty rare, man. I mean, I'm excited about that. I think you guys should be as well. That leaves us with the one big unknown, and that's the coaching. It's not that I'm going to sit here and say I think this coaching staff sucks. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's an unknown. You have a first-time head coach, and Jerod Mayo, a first-time offensive coordinator, at least as a play caller, and Alex Van Pelt, and a first-time defensive coordinator. You're projecting there with the coaching staff. But in terms of player personnel moves, I'm pretty happy and pretty pleased with what I've seen with Elliott Wolf, who is the de facto GM. Do you believe in the Patriots' direction? Type Y for yes or type N for no. From a front office decision-making standpoint, I really like what they've done. It's a couple months worth of work. I mean, a long way to go. We got to see how it plays out. Got to see how the coaching looks. But so far, so good. I'm pretty pleased with how this offseason's gone for New England. All right, guys. Appreciate you for tuning in to Patriots Today by Chat Sports. Congrats to Christian Barmore for getting a life-changing contract. My name is Harrison Graham. We'll be back soon, so be sure to subscribe.